Namaste and good evening. We'll start with the prayers. Om Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karvavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Now we'll chant Mahamrityunjaya mantra 3 times to pray for those who are in suffering. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukam Iva Bandhana Mrityor Mukshiyamamrutat. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukam Iva Bandhana Mrityor Mukshiyamamrutat. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukam Iva Bandhana Mrityor Mukshiyamamrutat. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Welcome everyone. Today we have the class 19 and we have already started Kishkindha Kanda. The 4th chapter. So in the last class, class 18, I came to know after the class that this screen where the notes were, the quotes and other things, it was not visible. Only the player screen was visible throughout the whole session. So that was a mistake on my part. I forgot to share correctly. But I was also surprised that none of the participants, none of you pointed it out to me using the chat window. So if you find any such thing in the future, just feel free to send a comment. If anything you're finding it missing, just send a comment so that I would know and can be corrected. So in the last class, we saw introduction of Hanuman into the scene, a very important character in the story of Rama. How Bali and Sugriva, they are two friends, brothers. Shiva is the younger brother, and Bali is very powerful. He is very powerful person, and Sugriva is a little bit timid and not so strong. He runs away when faced by a big challenge, difficult challenge. Bali always takes any challenge heads on. So he never likes somebody challenging him and he not accepting the challenge. So Bali was very proud of himself. And these two brothers, they used to love each other, and in the last class I explained how they developed the differences, whereby Bali just wanted to kill Sugriva, and Sugriva had to run everywhere, and finally found the shelter on a mountain nearby. The mountain's name is Rishamukha. And there Bali could not come because of a curse pronounced upon him. So this was the kingdom of Vanara. Generally it's translated as monkey, but these people were not like ordinary monkeys. They were more like human beings and somewhat like gods. They had some special powers. They were born with special powers, like they could fly, they could change their form at will. But there were some characteristics of monkeys also. They could live on the trees. They could live on the but they could, but they were also very well educated, and they had the systems in place, all the kingdom and everything. So it's not necessarily that they were like monkey, even though Hanuman in the West is known as monkey god, but he was more of a god than of a monkey. So Hanuman so Lord Rama visits Rishyamukh mountain. Hanuman is introduced at that time. He introduces himself, and then when he finds it's Lord Rama, his Lord, because Hanuman was born only for the sake of serving Lord Rama. He was born as a part of Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva wanted to serve Rama, so as a part of Lord Shiva, he was born. And that was the sole purpose of his life on the earth, to serve Lord Rama. So once he recognizes, he takes Lord Rama to Sugriva and requests Lord Rama that please have a friendship. Please make a friendship with Sugriva. You can help him and he can help you in search of Sita. Because so Sugriva could only help once he gets the kingdom, because then he will have the army of monkeys whom he could send in search of Sita. So in order for Sugriva to help Rama, Rama had to first help Sugriva. So anyway, for Lord Rama, he had the bond of friendship. He made a bond of friendship with Sugriva. And he promised to Sugriva that, look, I'll kill Bali. I'll kill Bali with one arrow. Sugriva was first very hesitant to accept this claim of Lord Rama because he knew Bali's strength. But when Lord Rama showed him his strength and also promised, Sugriva felt very comforted. When we were last class, when we were discussing about Hanuman, I told you his mother is Anjana and his father is Kesari, who is the husband of Anjana, but actually he was born as a grace of wind god, Pavana. So he is mainly known as Pavana Putra, the son of wind god. And he was as powerful as his father. So we'll start our story from today onwards. So when Rama promised Sugriva that I'll kill Bali, then how to carry this out? So he told Sugriva that you go and challenge Bali. Bali, of course, will not be able to reject any challenge. He will immediately accept it. And once he comes out, I'll take care of him. So Sugriva found that plan pretty agreeable. He had a little bit of a fear still in his heart of Bali from the past experience. So he goes and challenges Bali. Bali had a wife. So Bali's wife was Tara. Bali's wife is Tara. Tara is a woman of extraordinary beauty and also the wisdom at the same time. She was very beautiful and she was very wise. When Bali heard Sugriva challenging him, he could not tolerate. He just started going out. Then Tara stops him. And she tells him, look, Sugriva has no strength to challenge you. He is so afraid of you. He was running here and there in the whole world to escape. So he cannot come and challenge you. What I have found is, from some of the spies, is that he has gotten the support of two princes, Rama and Lakshmana. And people say that they are not no ordinary princes. Rama is incarnation of God himself. So please do not go. Please do not go out and fight with Sugriva. Instead, you should befriend Sugriva, give him half the kingdom, and also return his wife to him. That way, your kingdom will be secure and Rama will also be pleased. Even though Bali respected Tara's wisdom and he knew Tara's wisdom, but at this point of time when somebody like Sugriva is challenging him, he just could not accept that, what Tara was saying. He told Tara, look, if what you are saying is true, that Sugriva has befriended Rama and he is under Rama's protection, then one thing I have heard about Rama, that he doesn't have any likes or dislikes. He doesn't have any favorites or non-favorites. There is a word in Sanskrit called samadarshi. He views everybody with the same from the same perspective. So it's not like I become his enemy. If he is Sugriva's lord, for Sugriva he is also lord for me. And supposing he kills me, Bali is saying, then also I would be very lucky to get killed by the hands of Lord Rama. Or else, what you are saying is not true, then I'll teach Sugriva such a lesson that he will never be able to dare raise his head again. So saying like that, Bali exited from the kingdom's gates and he fights to Sugriva. The moment he sees Sugriva, he strikes him with big fist. And Sugriva is like just trembling under the strike of Bali. And once more, and Sugriva cannot take it any further, and he runs away. Lord Rama is looking at all this from behind a tree. So Sugriva knows about it, and he runs back to Lord Rama. And he says, what are you doing? Do you want to see me getting killed by Bali? I was almost dead. And Rama says, look, you two brothers, you are so alike to each other that I could not differentiate when you were fighting with Bali, that who is who. So by mistake, if I would have shot an arrow and if it would have killed you instead of Bali, it would have been a great blunder. So what you do is Lord Rama put a garland of flowers on Sugriva's neck. That now with this garland on you, I can recognize you, I can identify you from Bali separately. So again you go, again you challenge Bali. And this time I assure you that he will get killed. So Sugriva again goes, of course with some assurance from Lord Rama, but also some trembling in his heart from Bali. So he goes, challenges Bali, Bali again comes out, they are fighting. And Sugriva is on the verge of like just calling it quits and running away. Because Bali was really coming across very powerful. When it was at that point of time that Sugriva would either get killed or has to run away, Lord Rama shoots an arrow and hits Bali. Bali immediately falls down on the earth, fatally wounded. And then Lord Rama comes out from behind the tree and comes around to face Bali. When Bali sees Lord Rama, he recognizes the Lord. In his heart, he bows down to Lord. But on his mouth, he had some strong words for the Lord. So he's saying that you are the Lord incarnated. You came for protecting Dharma. But what kind of Dharma is this? That I am fighting with Sugriva, a duel, and you hit me from behind the tree. And secondly, you are known as Samadarshi, having equal vision, viewing everybody from the same point of view. So how is it that Sugriva is your friend and I'm your enemy? So like that he asks Lord Rama. So Lord Rama gives this reply. I'll read it. अनुज बधु भगिनी सुत नारी सुनु सठ कन्या सम ए चारी इनहि कुदृष्टि बिलो कई जोई ताहि बधे कछु पाप न होई मूढ़ तो ही अतिशय अभिमाना नारी सिखावन करसि न काना मम भुज बल आश्रित तेहि जानी मारा चहसि अधम अभिमानी सुनहु राम स्वामी सन चल न चातुरी मोर प्रभु अजहु मैं पापी अंत काल गति तोर. So Lord Rama here is telling Bali that Anuj Vadhu, the wife of younger brother, sister, wife of the son, and one's own daughter, they are like equivalent in terms of these four. If anybody even looks at them with a lustful eye, then dharma says, the scripture says that to kill that person, it is perfectly okay, it's not a sin. So Bali had taken Sugriva, his younger brother's wife, as his own wife. So because of that, Lord Rama is saying that you have already transgressed dharma, whereby you deserve the punishment of death. And so he basically, Lord Rama is saying that killing you is not something that any other than dharma, because it is as per the dharma shastra, the scriptures. And then he is telling Bali that you are so proud of yourself that even you did not listen to your wife Tara, who is so wise. And you knew that Sugriva has taken my shelter. And even then you wanted to kill him. When Bali heard all this, he became immediately very soft. He said, look, you are the Lord, you are the master. I cannot win you. I cannot win over you. But tell me one thing, oh my Lord, that am I still a sinner, that in the last moment I am having you near me? Even then, am I a sinner? When Lord Rama heard that, he immediately had a lot of compassion in his heart for Bali. And he says to Bali, look, if you would like, I can give the life back to you. I can make you whole again. Do you want that? And Bali says a very beautiful thing. It's a very famous verse from Manas. Janma janma muni jatan karahi antaram kahi avat nahi jasu naam bal sankar kasi det sabahi samgati avinasi mamlochan gochar soyava bahurik prabhu asbani banawa. So Bali is saying that saints and sages, they perform meditations, they do the spiritual practice, lives after lives. And yet, it is very difficult just to have the memory or the chanting of the word Rama in the last moment of one's life. It is said that if somebody thinks of God or just chants the word Rama at the last moment, he attains liberation in the last moment of his life. So Bali is saying that even for saints and sages, who who are performing the spiritual practices so rigorously whole of their lives, it is very difficult for them to think of Lord Rama or chant the word in the last moment. In India, there is a famous belief that if somebody dies in Varanasi, also known as Kashi, that city is known as the city of Lord Shiva. So if somebody dies there, he attains liberation. How he attains liberation? Just by the virtue of Lord Shiva's city. So Lord Shiva gives the liberation to anybody who dies in Kashi, irrespective of whether that person is saint or sinner. And the way he gives the liberation, he chants the name of Lord Rama in the last moment of that person's life on the earth. When he is about to die, Lord Shiva comes there and chants name of Lord Rama. So that is the power he is saying of Lord, your name. And in this case, Bali is saying that you yourself are in front of me. Can I ever expect such kind of combination happening again? So for what should I keep the life? Like, because Lord asked Bali that if you would like, I can give you back life. I can give back your life. And he says, for what? Can I ever expect that this kind of thing will happen in my last moment, that you would be in front of me? So Bali very happily gives up his body. But before he gives up his body, he asks Lord Rama that please take Angada. So Bali had a son. His name is Angada. So he says that you take Angada under your protection, my son. So Lord Rama held the hand of Angada, and then Bali leaves his body. Bali gives up his body. When Tara heard this, that Bali is dead, she became very restless. She comes out of the palace and she is crying. When Lord saw Tara and her distress, then Lord Rama gives her the knowledge. So he tells Tara that this body is made of 5 elements. So these 5 elements are earth, water, fire, air, and space. The whole universe is made of these 5 elements, all visible universe. So this body also coming under that universe is made of 5 elements. So he is saying that, look, this body which is made of 5 elements, that is still here, the same body which you were loving like yesterday, the same body is lying right now. And if you are concerned about the soul, then soul is eternal. So why are you crying? Now, we all can say these kind of things, but when Lord told these words to Tara, Tara immediately got the knowledge of reality, and she bows down to Lord and she asks Lord's devotion as the boon. So there is one famous verse from Manas, which Lord Shiva is telling Lord Parvati. Uma daru jo shit ki nai, sabahin chabatu Ram Gosai. The Almighty Lord Rama makes us all dance like so many marionettes. There is a play of the wooden dolls. Marionette is the wooden doll. People make the wooden doll dance. There are plays like that. So he's saying as if everybody else is like a wooden doll and Lord Rama is making us all dance to his tunes. So after this happened, then Lord Rama tells Sugriva that perform the last rites of Bali as befitting a king. And Sugriva does that. After that, he asks Lakshmana that you go into the city, because Lord Rama had given his father a word that he would not be going into any city. He will be in the forest for 14 years. So he himself does not go into the city. Lakshmana came just to serve Lord Rama. He was not given the such orders by Dashratha that he cannot go into the city. So Lord Rama tells Lakshmana that you go into the city and make Sugriva the king and Angada, son of Bali, as the successor, heir apparent. So that's what Lakshmana does. Lakshmana goes into the city, makes Sugriva king of the whole kingdom, the monkey kingdom, and Bali, Angada, who is the son of Bali, he was made heir apparent. Then it was a time when rainy season was about to come. So Lord Rama tells Sugriva, once he becomes a king, he gives Sugriva certain instructions that what are the roles and duties of a king, how should he administer the kingdom. Particularly because there may be some people who are against Sugriva, as he was the cause of Bali's death. He also wanted to make sure that Angada is not neglected, as he had given promise to Bali that Angada would be under Lord's care. So, considering all these things, he gives instructions to Sugriva. And then he says that after this rainy season is over, I expect that you will send your army to different places to find out where Sita is. And Sugriva is extremely grateful to Lord. He bows down to Lord and says, yes, I will do that. So in the meantime, for the rainy season period, Lord Rama goes and stays in a cave on the mountain nearby. So there was a cave which was very beautiful. So Lord Rama and Lakshmana, they are staying in the cave for the rainy season. So here is the poetic beauty of the text, that when Tulsidas ji, the poet, he is describing the dialogue between Rama and Lakshmana. So on the one hand, he is describing the rainy season, that what all is happening in rainy season. And on the other hand, he is giving the similes which are conveying the spiritual messages. So I'll give you some examples here. Tulsidas ji has probably put like 20 plus similes of this manner. So Lord Rama is telling Lakshmana that, look Lakshmana, in the sky, there is lightning. Lightning is flashing. But lightning is just flashing for a moment and then it goes away. It doesn't stay. It doesn't stay for long. Just like the friendship of a wicked person, it is never a long lasting. It's like the lightning, flash of lightning. That is so it's like the friendship of wicked. And then he's saying that rain is falling on the mountain. And look how the mountain is tolerating the strike of the water raindrops, just like a saintly person bears the strong words of a wicked person. So just like the mountain doesn't get affected by the raindrops, similarly a saint is not affected by the strong words of a wicked person. Then he is saying, look, the rivers which are very small, which don't have the water throughout the year. But because of the rainy season, they are overflowing and they are breaking the bonds, breaking the banks, and they are flowing at such fast pace, just like a wicked person. He becomes very showy, very with the small fortune. And then he's saying that look at all the ponds, how they are collecting the waters. So water is falling in the land in different places and it is flowing towards the pond. Just like the different divine qualities, they automatically go towards a saint. And then finally, the water of the river that is going and merging into the ocean, and then after that it does not flow any further, just like a seeker, when he attains the Lord, he becomes, all his activity stops, like he has found his goal, just like the river has found his goal in the ocean. So like that, it's a very beautiful, it's a very poetic description of both the rainy season as well as these spiritual teachings. So like that, 4 months or the whole time of rainy season, that passes away. And then the fall or autumn, fall comes. And Lord Rama is saying, oh Lakshmana, so much time has passed. Rainy season is over. But we have not found any information about location of Sita. If I once know, then even if I have to fight the death itself, I'll bring Sita back. And he says that even Sugriva, he has forgotten me. He attained the kingdom, he got his wife back, he attained the treasury, and now he has forgotten me. And that's what happens. Many times we pray to Lord when we are in difficulty. And many times it happens that Lord fulfills our wishes. We are taken away from those difficulties. And then we start enjoying the senses and we forget the Lord. Same thing is shown here for Sugriva. When he got the kingdom, wife, treasury, all the people, he forgot the Lord and his work. So Lord Rama tells Lakshmana that the arrow with which I killed Bali, that arrow is still there with me. Tomorrow I'll kill Sugriva with it. And when Lakshmana heard that and sees that Lord is upset, he goes, why tomorrow? I'm going, and why do you have to take trouble about it? I'll go right now and kill that person right now. So when Lord Rama heard that, he says, listen, I don't want to kill Sugriva or anything. Just show him a little bit fear and not too much, so that he just comes and he starts doing what is the right thing to do. So Lakshmana understood. He goes there. He goes to the kingdom and he goes with a little bit fierce form. Everybody starts trembling when they look at Lakshmana. Sugriva heard that and he was in his bedroom at that time. And he also started trembling when he heard that Lakshmana is coming in anger. What he does though, a little smartly, he sends Tara and Angada to receive Lakshmana. He does not go himself first. So when Lakshmana sees Tara, now it was the custom at that time that a woman has to be treated with utmost respect. You cannot just show anger to a woman just like that. So when Lakshmana sees Tara, he naturally cannot show too much anger. And Tara is bowing down to him and saying, please sit down, have something. Sugriva did miss his duties, but he is not completely unaware also. He is trying his best once he knew that he had forgotten, and once it came to his notice, then he is trying. So she pacifies Lakshmana a little bit, and Angada also falls down at the feet of Lakshmana. And then Lakshmana goes to Sugriva. Sugriva falls down at his feet and says, look, I definitely am at fault. But who does not get attracted by the sense objects? And I had been deprived of these things for so long. I had been in the fear of Bali all this time. So when I got all these things back, I started enjoying them and I forgot. But there will be no further delay from my side. What had happened also in the meantime, Hanuman had realized that Sugriva was not remembering his duty. So he had just told Sugriva that, look, I am sending all these monkey chieftains to bring the monkeys from all over your kingdom to the capital so that they can gather here, and then we can send them in teams to search for Sita. So that effort Hanuman had already undertaken. So when Lakshmana came, there was at least to tell that, look, it's not that we have not done anything. We have already sent these people, these chieftains, who are bringing all the monkey soldiers into the capital. So when Lakshmana heard that, he was not so angry anymore. And then he tells Sugriva that go immediately to Lord Rama and explain to him. Sugriva, of course, bows to Lord Rama, and Lord Rama, as kind as he is, he never sees the faults of his devotees. So he hugs Sugriva. And in the meantime, he was also made aware of the progress done. So within a day or two, all these monkeys who had been there throughout the kingdom, they were all called, and they all had started gathering. So within a day or two, everybody had come to the capital. So they all go to Lord Rama. All this huge, vast monkey army, they go to Lord Rama. And when Lord Rama sees them, he feels happy. He meets everybody. Everybody feels that Lord Rama is first meeting him only. And then there was a plan that create the teams. So they created 4 major teams to search for Sita. So 4 teams going in 4 directions. One going in the east, one going in the west, one north, one south. So wherever, and they were given the instructions that you have to search everywhere possible and then come back within a month. So Sugriva had given them the instructions that come back within a month to report whether you accomplished the job or not. So they all were divided into teams. The last team to go was the team in the southern direction. And there it was more likely because for somebody to find Sita, because Lord Ravana had taken Sita in the southern direction. So that these monkeys knew. And Lord Rama, of course, had known earlier. So that part was known. So it was more likely. And Hanuman was in the team of going in the southern direction. So Angada was the leader of the team. He was the heir apparent or successor to Sugriva. So being the senior most in the administration, he was made the leader of the team. There was Hanuman. And there was also a bear called Jamban. So I'll write the name. So Jamban. he was a bear. He was also in the team going in the southern direction. So when Lord Rama sees Hanuman going in this team, he calls him separately. And he blesses Hanuman. Hanuman bows down to him. He blesses Hanuman. And Lord Rama gives, he knew that it will be Hanuman who will finally find Sita's address. So he gave his the ring finger as a token of recognition to Sita, so that Sita would know that he is indeed the messenger of Lord Rama. So Lord Rama gives his ring finger to Hanuman. Hanuman hides it into the hair on the head. And this thing nobody else knew that Lord Rama has specially given. So Hanuman is just going as one of the soldiers, one of the persons in the team, and they all are going in the southern direction. So within a month, the three teams which had gone in the east, west, and northern directions, they had come back, and they said, we did not find any trace of Sita. The team which had gone in the southern direction, they were searching here and there, and they were having no information about Sita. They started in a great enthusiasm. And Sugriva had said that this verse from Manas, देह धरे कर यह फल भाई, भजिय राम सब काम बिहाई, सोई गुणज्ञ सोई बड़ भागी, जो रघुबीर चरण अनुरागी. That really the whole purpose, whole consummation of human birth, taking a human birth, is that one should be able to worship, one should be able to dedicate his whole life for the sake of Lord Rama. That is the highest attainment of human life. And indeed, the one who is having the devotion to Lord Rama's feet, he is the person who is highly blessed. So these are the instructions which are given to all the monkeys. So they went into that spirit, and they were very enthusiastic and all determined to, no matter what comes, they will find where Sita is, and they will kill the demons, whatever it takes. But when they had gone many days, had no trace of Sita, they started losing some confidence, some enthusiasm. And at one point of time, they were not finding any water nearby. So they were all tired from trying to look for Sita in different places. On top of, they were immensely thirsty. They were not having any water. So they all were thinking, now they will probably not survive because there was no water body nearby. And they were all very tired. So then Hanuman comes to their rescue. He goes a little distance, climbs on a very tall tree, and he finds that in some distance, there is a place where there are birds. Those are the birds which are found near water. So he says, look, because I can see the birds, there is a very good likelihood that we will find water there. So it's just a little distance, you please all come. So they all went there, and they found themselves in a huge cave. So they went into the cave, and inside the cave, they found one lady hermit, a lady mendicant. She was apparently all-knowing. She understood who these people were. And she said, I am so happy. I am devotee of Lord Rama, and I am so happy to see you all. You please don't worry about the water. She shows them the pond. So everybody goes there, drinks the water. She also had a lot of trees and other things. So all the monkeys, they get a lot of fruits and roots. So they were now completely satisfied, all energetic. And then she says that, look, the search for Sita is not going to happen in this place. It is across the ocean. What I can do by the powers of my meditation, I can take you all to the shore of the ocean, and from there you will have to figure it out what to do. So she asks them to close their eyes, and then when they open their eyes, they are now near the shore of the ocean. So by her powers of meditation, she just transported them in a moment, the whole monkey troop, on the ocean shore. Now when they are sitting there, they are completely at a loss now what to do. How to cross this ocean? Ocean is like almost as if without any limits. So Angada, when he is seeing that he is the leader, he started lamenting. He says, we are done now. It has already been more than a month. We have started. So Sugriva, if we go back unsuccessful, Sugriva will not leave us alive. Anyway, Angada always had the suspicion that Sugriva does not like him. Angad could never trust Sugriva because Sugriva had, in a way, got his father killed, Bali. So Angada was always suspicious of Sugriva. Even though Angada was under the protection of Lord Rama, yet he could never trust Sugriva. So he was saying Sugriva will not leave because he had already said that anybody who comes after 1 month, he will be punished. And there is no way that we can cross this ocean. I mean, we have no clue how to cross this thing. So Angada is saying that he started lamenting and crying, and he says, for us, the best thing is to just commit suicide here. We will stop eating and drinking, and that is one possible way as per the scriptures to commit suicide, in a way, that to give up the food and water and slowly let the body wither. So that was the thought of Angada. So he said, let us take that path and give up our bodies. So when everybody saw Angada talking like this, everybody was very sad, but they also did not know what to do. So they were just sitting there. And then there was a bird, huge vulture. He was living in a cave nearby. So when he saw all these monkeys, he became very happy. So he comes out and he says, oh, I'm so happy seeing all these monkeys today here. It seems like God has given me the food. Because he was a huge vulture, he could just eat monkeys just like that. So when monkeys heard that, and Angada in particular, he became even more depressed. That as if the existing troubles are not enough, now we have this vulture to deal with who is just ready to eat us. So Angada says that Jatayu, who was the other vulture, he has been so lucky, he was so fortunate that he gave up his life for the sake of Lord Rama. And now here we have another vulture looking like him, but he is ready to eat us who have come out to do the work of Lord Rama. So when this vulture's name was Sampati, when he heard that, he became very curious. And he comes to monkeys and says that, tell me about Jatayu. You were mentioning Jatayu's name. Jatayu is my younger brother. What happened to him? So Angada told the whole story to Sampati, that how Jatayu gave up his life for the sake of Lord Rama, trying to protect Sita from Ravana. And when Sampati heard that, he had tears in his eyes. He says, I had not seen Jatayu for a very long time. And hearing from you, I feel so emotional now. So there is a tradition in Vedic religion that when the last rites of a person, they are done with the water. So Sampati does in the ocean. He says, because I am hearing now about Jatayu's death, let me perform his last rites. So then Sampati tells the story, his story. He did not have the feathers. Sampati, he was a vulture, but he did not have feathers. His feathers had burned. So he was telling his story that me and Jatayu, when we were young, we were very energetic. We wanted to fly very high in the sky, and we wanted to see who could fly the highest. So both Jatayu and Sampati, in the vigor of their youth, they took the flight. And they kept rising high and high and high, to the extent that sun's rays became very scorching. And they both started feeling tremendous heat because of sun's rays. What Sampati does, he is the elder brother. He flew in such a manner that his shadow will fall on Jatayu, so that Jatayu will be protected, he will not burn. So Jatayu indeed got protection. He came down safely, but Sampati could not come down safely. In order to protect his brother, he himself got his wings burnt, and he just fell from the sky with his wings burnt. When Sampati came down like this, he was very distressed. He was very depressed. And what is the life of a vulture without the wings? So when he was like lamenting like this, a rishi came, a sage came to him. And he said, look, don't be upset, don't be depressed. This is just for some time that you have to endure this. There will come a time, a few years from now, when Lord Rama will come to the forest. His messengers, monkeys, they will be going to southern direction to search for Sita. And when you meet them, just by the grace of your meeting Lord Rama's messengers, you will grow the new feathers. So then Sampati actually indeed grew new feathers after he told this story. And then he tells monkeys that how to search for Sita. So we'll discuss that in our next class, that part of the story. And so any questions or comments, please feel free to write in the chat window. I received one question on the email, so I'll discuss that question in the meantime. You can write your question or comment in the chat window. So the question was this. I hope you can see that. It's written here. I can increase the font. So thank you for sharing with us this beautiful story. I am deeply touched by your words. That is the beauty of the story of Lord Rama. In class 18, that is the last class, if I understood correctly, you said that Lord Hanuman is the only one who is worshipped as God himself along with Rama. I also understood that Lord Rama is seen as incarnation of God himself and not just like one characteristic as Lord Shiva and others. Then I thought about the mantra Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, and was wondering if you could discuss the relationship between Lord Rama and Lord Krishna in the view of the Vedic tradition. And then person is mentioning that you probably already know, but in the class 18, the opening prayer slide was on the screen up to the end. So this is a beautiful question. It does require a bit more explanation. So first part, that Lord Hanuman is the one who is worshipped as God himself along with Rama. So if you look at in Manas, in the story of Lord Rama, there are many characters, and most of the characters, their beauty is centered about their devotion to Lord Rama, and they have their own devotion in such a manner that it's very difficult to compare. Who is like, you look at Sita, the way she is devoted to Lord Rama. You look at Lakshmana, he has no care for anybody else in the world for the sake of except Lord Rama. Look at Bharata, he is for the sake of just obeying the orders of Lord Rama. So it's very difficult. It's like all these stories of devotion, and then lots of saints and sages, their stories of devotion are so amazing. And somehow it so happened that the story of Hanuman, his devotion to Lord Rama, it has resonated so much with the Indian psyche that you will find the temples of Lord Rama in India. And when you find the temples of Lord Rama, sometimes you will find Sita is also there, sometimes you will find Lakshmana is also there, sometimes all the four brothers are there, but Hanuman is always there. In any temple of Lord Rama, you will find the Hanuman also always there. But then there are many, many temples, thousands of temples, which are dedicated to just to Hanuman. So that way, there is no other character from Manas who has that kind of thing, that who has temples dedicated to him. Like you will not find temples dedicated to Lakshmana, temples dedicated to Bharata. Maybe one or two here and there somewhere, but not like as a general thing. But Hanuman temples are extremely common all over India. Then the next part of the question was, I also understand Lord Rama is seen as incarnation of God himself and not just like one characteristic as Lord Shiva. So this part requires a bit of an explanation. Consider this way. Lord is one, God is one. And when I said Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, they are seen as different characteristics, like representing the characteristic. But still it is the Lord himself. So the same Lord, when viewed from the perspective of creation, is called Brahma. The same Lord, when viewed from the perspective of preservation or sustaining the creation, known as Vishnu. When the same Lord is viewed from the perspective of dissolution, known as Lord Shiva. So in that sense, but he is the same Lord. So in other words, if you look at, for example, if a person is doctor, he is also father, he is also husband, he is also son. So for the mother, that is the son aspect, but it's the same person. For the patient, it is the doctor aspect. So the patient will say that he is the best doctor, we love this, and doctor is the best. Not the doctor is superior to father and son, but it's the same person. For the son, he will say father is the best. Father wins over the doctor because father is partial to me. Father fulfills all my desires, not the doctor. So whichever point of view one likes, that is as per the devotee. Because all the devotees, they have different temperaments. They can like whichever aspect of the Lord and worship him. But it is the same Lord. So Lord Shiva is also the same God as Lord Rama is. Therefore, again and again, this description comes that there is, Lord Rama says that there is no difference between me and Lord Shiva. And we have seen in Manas that Lord Shiva worships Lord Rama. It will also come that Lord Rama worships Lord Shiva later on. So in essence, there is no difference. The difference only comes from the perspective of the devotees, which perspective they want to look at. So the devotees of Lord Shiva, for them, Shiva is supreme. Lord Shiva is supreme. For devotees of Lord Rama, Rama is supreme. And when I said Rama is seen as incarnation of God, that's what it meant. That is not just the aspect of Vishnu itself, because when one is devotee of Lord Rama, Rama is the God supreme incarnation, divinity in the highest manifestation. Rama and Krishna are the same. In fact, in many traditions, it is believed that Rama's next birth was as Krishna. So in that sense, there is no difference between Rama and Krishna. But again, you will find in India, for people who would love Lord Rama, because Lord Rama is their Ishta Devta. Similarly, you will find people who will love Krishna because Krishna is their supreme manifestation of divinity. So whichever aspect we can relate to, that becomes the supreme, because its Lord is all one. So that was there are some other questions here. Hanuman's father was born by the grace of the god of the wind. No, Hanuman himself was born. So wind is considered father of Hanuman. So Hanuman, the name of the wind in Sanskrit is Pavana. So Hanuman is known son of Pavana, Pavana Putra. So Hanuman was born by the grace of wind god. So there is a question which I am not quite clear on. It says, what is A Rama? Is it short for Hey Rama? I have not seen A Rama. I'm not sure where are you getting this. If you can find a context for me, that would be helpful. So with this, we will close the session. It says it was in my notes earlier in the class. I'm not sure. Where is it? Let me search. Oh, this is just the font. This is just like Lord because I copied it from the PDF file. So it is just the name of Rama, name Rama basically. That's what it means. So the font did not come correct. So it is just they failed to utter the name Rama. That's what it is. So thank you for your questions and discussions, comments. I'll close with class with the prayers. And again, as I told you earlier, you can always write in the email also if you have any questions or comments. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayah, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschid dukha bhag bhavet. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you all.